G'day traders, Rich here. Today in this short video I'll be providing instructions on how to download our ATS programs from the website and in how to install and to construct a portfolio of programs using our risk-adjusted recipes. The first thing we need to do is go to the forum, then scroll down to the members forum, which is highlighted with this blue area here, and then scroll down further until you come down to the download section of the members forum. In this download section we can see a large number of individual programs which you need to download onto your PC to be able to construct your portfolios. So we first click on the downloads heading. This therefore gives us full access to all of the programs that we would like to compile into a portfolio and download. So the next step is obviously to download these individual programs. At the moment we've got 10 programs starting from ATS 1000 up to ATS 1009 which we need to download onto our PCs. So the first thing we do is we go to the ATS 1000 program, we click it. This therefore gives us a brief description of the program, and now we go to the download program section and click on download. This therefore will download a zip file to our download directory of our PC. If I open up my Windows Explorer and I go to my download section, I'll just delete the prior downloads, we can see that the zip file has now been downloaded into our download directory. So we do the same for all of the other 9. And here we have it. We've now downloaded 10 individual zip files from the download directory of the members forum into the download section of our PC. Now before I continue, you need to understand that operating these automated programs on your individual PC is okay for backtesting, but not advised for trading, demo or live accounts. In a separate video we will discuss the reasons and benefits of using these automated systems on a virtual private server or VPS. So now that we have installed all of these zip files into our download directory, it's time to extract them. The way we do this is we click on the individual zip file, but we ensure that we have WinZip loaded onto our PC, which is free download software which you can obtain from Google. We double click on the single zip file for ATS 1000, and this therefore allows us to extract the files. The way we do this is we select both files that are contained in a zip file and just press the extract button. We select the default so it should extract into our download directory. That's all there is to it. Now that we've extracted the file, you can see that there is a folder here, and when we open the folder we can see the individual extracted files, which is the executable file, which is the program itself, and a PDF file, which is information about the product. We'll be needing this executable file to install onto our Metatrader platforms for each of the individual programs. So I'll now continue to extract all of the other files. So here we have it. We now have 9 distinct separate folders which comprise our extracted files from our zip files. Within these folders are the executable files we need to therefore drag and drop into our Metatrader platform. The next step is to open up our Metatrader 4 platform, and we go to the menu where we select File, we select Open Data Folder, which brings up a data directory contained within Metatrader 4. We then go to MQL4 directory, double click it. We then select Experts, and within the Experts directory is where we load all of our automated programs that we've just downloaded. So on the screen, we select the File Explorer, which brings up our downloaded directory files. And now what we want to do is go into each of these folders and drag and drop the individual executable files into the expert files of the Metatrader directory. So now I have dragged and dropped each of the executable files into the Metatrader directory, and we can see that we have got numbered ATS 1000 through to ATS 1009, all now downloaded into the experts directory. So now that's done, I can close the Explorer directories and now go to the Navigator section of the Metatrader platform. If it's not visible on your screen, you need to select it from the View menu where you select Navigator. Once you're in the Navigator section of the MT4 platform, you select Expert Advisors and with the right-hand mouse button, click on Refresh. What the refresh does is it ensures that those executable files are all now loaded onto your MT4 platform, and when you drill down into the content of the Expert Advisors directory, you will see the individual programs listed from ATS 1000 through to ATS 1009, all now visible. So now all of these programs have been installed into Metatrader. We can now use them for either backtesting using MT4 Strategy Tester. You'll be able to see Strategy Tester either at the base of your screen, or if it's not visible, go to the View section and select Strategy Tester. This therefore brings up the backtesting module of MT4. Or alternatively, these programs can be used in a demo or live trading environment when you attach each individual executable file to a chart. But we'll go into that a bit later. For now, we'll just focus on using these for backtesting purposes so you can get a feel for how they operate, and you're able to test these programs on your own broker's data. Now, unfortunately, within the backtest environment, you cannot test all of these programs together as a consolidated portfolio, but you can test them all individually. The process then is to compile the results into a portfolio result at the end of the exercise. But for the purposes of backtesting, you need to remember that each of these individual executable files are for specific markets and specific timeframes. For instance, the ATS 1000 AUD USD H4 executable file is specific for the market AUD USD and for the time frame H4. So now it's loaded into the MT4 platform. We can select the Expert Advisor from the drop-down list of the Strategy Tester module, and here we've just got to find it. ATS 1000 AUD USD, that is the expert that we want to test now in the backtest environment. So we select it by double clicking. This therefore loads the executable file into the backtest module. We therefore need to configure our module for AUD USD, which we do by going to the symbol selection and selecting AUD USD from our market watch list. In this case, it's up the top. So now we know that we have correctly applied the correct instrument to the executable file. Now from this section here of model, we can either select control points or open prices only. There is very little material variation between these methods, given that we are testing this on the H4 or D1 time frame. So we would recommend using open prices only, as it is the fastest method for backtesting. Now that we have selected the correct model to apply and the symbol, we need to therefore go over to the right of the screen to see the period field where we select H4, as that is a time frame we need to test this executable file on. We have an option here for spread, which you can adopt a fixed spread of a desired spread across the entire backtest history, or you can choose from the drop-down list the current spread, which applies the current market spread that's available for that instrument. Now, spread varies over the course of your backtest history, so what we do for conservative reasons is we look at the individual spread of the market currently, and then we effectively double it. To do that, what we do is we load as a chart on the screen AUD USD by selecting Chart Window. This therefore places the chart on the screen of AUD USD. We just select H4 here. And what you will be able to do is using one of our downloadable programs. It's an indicator. It's called the ATS Data Collector. You simply select load the ATS Data Collector in the same way that you've loaded your expert advisors, but instead of placing it in the experts directory of the Metatrader platform, we place that download in MQL4 and we go to indicators. So instead of experts, we load it in the indicators directory. Once again, once it's loaded and downloaded into that section, we need to go back to our Navigator menu, and when selecting indicators, right click, press refresh, and it will update that indicator in your list of indicators that you can use. So we drag and drop the ATS Data Collector onto our chart. This therefore puts up a settings, and what we do is select OK, and this therefore places ATS Data Collector at the base of the screen, which gives us important information such as the buy-sell spread. In this case it's 12. What we do for conservative reasons is we therefore select a spread that is approximately double that for our backtesting environment. So in this case we'll select 20 as our conservative spread to apply over our backtest history. So now we've almost fully set up the settings that allow us to undertake the individual backtest. We have the correct expert advisor, the correct symbol, the correct model, the correct period. We've chosen a fixed spread of 20, which is double the effective current spread in the market. And now we need to go to the expert properties to check final settings. When we go to this expert properties, we have 3 tabs at the top of the module. When we select the testing tab, we tend to choose an initial deposit of $10,000 for backtesting purposes. This is just a standard we apply for our backtest models, and we select USD currency. In our inputs tab, we select the desired entry lots. Now for our members, for these risk-adjusted portfolios, they need to specify the correct entry lot. To do this, they need to go to the section on the forum, which is in the members area called ATS Portfolios, and click on the particular portfolio listed here, which is the ATS 100,000 portfolio, or the Beast. And within that thread you'll be able to see in gold the highlighted recommended lot sizings to apply for each individual backtest, but for the purposes of non-members we do not release that information publicly. But for members, just go to that area and you'll be able to see the settings to apply for your lot sizes. So we go back to our Metatrader platform. You'll note this section here called password. When you downloaded that file originally from the website, you'll have had a PDF attached to that which contains product information, and in that file you'll find the password to apply for this particular program. You therefore enter the password into this section that therefore allows the algorithm to be used both in the backtest, the demo and live trading environments. So for the purposes of non-members who are just testing this and seeing how it goes, we'd recommend just using a 0.01 lot size, which is already specified. The base magic number we don't touch. That is for the purposes of demo or live trading, which we'll get into later. The start date for testing and end date for testing relates to the date range that is applied for our data files that are generated at the end of the backtest process, which is in CSV format. That is an added extra that we incorporate into these algorithms for enhanced backtesting information, which goes above and beyond that which Metatrader produces, and we'll discuss that at a later date. So for this particular purpose, just ensure that the start date for testing and the end date for testing is the same as the from date and the to date selected on the Metatrader platform. In this instance, we're going to be doing a long range test from the year 2000, the 1st of the 1st 2000, right up to current day. We set the to date to a time in the future to ensure that the entire backtest covers up to the current day. Now we move on to the section called Allow New Trades to be Opened. We need to put this setting as true for any backtest we undertake. This setting is to be used when we're in the demo or live trading environment for rebalancing processes, which will be the subject of a later video. So we set that to true, and then the final three fields relate to the performance outputs or the report outputs that are generated at the end of the backtest, which we'll see at the end of this exercise. Set them all to true so we can see these CSV files being generated, which give it extra information to that which is generated by Metatrader's reporting platform. So now we've set all of our input criteria. The optimization tab, we don't touch anything, we just keep it at the defaults, and we've now finished with the expert properties section of the module. Now what we do is we come down to this section called visual mode. This allows us to see the trades actually being undertaken during the course of the backtest. We can set this to on, which allows the visual process to be seen, or when we set it off, the backtest is still performed, but we just don't get the visual representation of the trades being undertaken. For the purposes of speed of backtesting, it's preferable not to have this selected, but for this demonstration purpose, we'll have this selected so you can see during the course of the backtest the trades being undertaken. So now we've applied the settings all correctly, we're now ready to hit the start button. So let's go ahead and undertake the backtest. You'll notice that the backtest is now trading, and you can see the visual representation of all the trades being undertaken. To speed up the process or slow down the process, you use this slider here, which allows you to slow down and see exactly what's going on in a step-by-step manner, or in a fast way, quickly undertake the backtest. Now remember, using this visual mode does use up backtest resources, so don't use it once you're comfortable with undertaking the backtests. But as the backtest is being performed and we can see the trades now being undertaken, I thought I'd just better explain to you how some of these programs are constructed. This particular program, the AUD/USD H4 program, actually is a composite of many different trend following programs that are applicable to AUD/USD on the H4 time frame. So effectively what we're seeing here is a sub-portfolio operating for this particular instrument. All of these sub-portfolios get accumulated at the end of the process into a total composite portfolio. In this example, we'll be using the Beast portfolio. Now the backtest has been performed, we can see the equity curve by coming down to the base of the backtest module and clicking on Graph. As you can see, over the course of the test range, we've had a genuine positive expectancy over the period. We've had some good lifts in equity. We can see the green line here faintly. Which indicates that we are not risk warehousing. All of these strategies possess positive skew. If they possess negative skew, you'd see the green unrealized equity curve sitting below the realized equity curve. But in this instance, you can clearly see that the unrealized equity curve sits above the balance curve. What this means is that we are not carrying risk with our strategies and we're releasing it. And the reason for this is that we cut losses short at all periods of time, which is a far safer strategy that doesn't bear intrinsic risk in it and is a price following technique. So we have the equity curve, which is quite a good equity curve that we're happy with. But remember, this is a composite of individual systems. If we go to the results tab, we can see the individual trade results in Metatrader. The report tab allows us to see the overall report statistics for the backtesting process from Metatrader. And the journal is just a process, is just to record. This is more for live trading and demo trading purposes, which we don't really use for backtesting at all. So the report tab, the equity curve, and the results tab is information that we can obtain from Metatrader. We can, of course, download these reports when you click on the tab and you click within the report and right click. You've got the option to save as a report, which allows you to save this information away from the Metatrader platform. With the equity curve, we use a snip tool that allows us to capture the graphics of that equity curve result if we need to use it for portfolio validation purposes. And the report here, if you right click within the report, you can save this report as an HTML file, which gives you all of the individual trade statistics as well as the overall statistics for the backtest run. However, these are the reports that are generated internally within Metatrader. Now, if you remember, when we were back in setting up the settings in Expert Properties, we selected 3 options that allowed us to generate reports. So when we come to want to see those reports, we select File from the top of the menu, we select Open Data Folder, and within this section called Tester, we double click on it and you'll see a folder called Files. Within that folder, double click and you'll see 3 subdirectories, one called Monthly, one called Performance, and one called Trade History. If we go into the monthly performance, we'll see that the results of this particular backtest for ATS 1000 AUD USD H4 contains, when we open it up in Excel format, it contains the complete monthly, month-by-month P&L for the backtest, including the profit in dollars as we go down the column per month by month, the maximum lots ever realized during the course of that month. That's important for determining our margin exposure, and the maximum margin used, which is used to scale our portfolios to ensure that we're never in a position that we obtain margin calls. But we'll be discussing that at a later date. That's the monthly performance record that's generated in the back end of the algorithm. If we want to go to the, I'll just close this off here, I won't save it. If we want to go to the other files, we come to a performance file. When we open up that particular file for this particular backtest, you'll see the gross statistics of the entire backtest, including the open date, the start date, the total net profit, number of trades, the compound annual growth rate, which is important for our portfolio management process, the maximum drawdown achieved over the course of the run. In this case, it's about 1%. The MAR ratio, which we use for risk-adjusted processing, the profit factor, the maximum consecutive wins over the course of the backtest, and the maximum consecutive wins over the course of the backtest, the probability of a win, in this case 46%, the average win in dollar terms, which is $8, and the average loss, which is $3.16. In this case, this shows that we have strong positive skew in this strategy, where the winners are far greater than the losers, and so that's why we see the skew having a positive favourable skew of 2.39. The maximum consecutive loss by the average loss is a figure that we use to determine our margin exposure, as is the maximum lot supplied at any course in time over the course of the backtest, and our maximum margin used also is the representative figure that shows how close we are to receiving a margin call over the entire backtest. We'll be explaining these at a later time. I'll close this CSV file, and we'll go into the final file generated over the backtest process, which is the trade history file. This is an important file which includes the complete trade history for the backtest, but more importantly, something that Metatrader doesn't show are the individual costs inherent in the backtest, which we're able to isolate out in this trade history format. So things such as the spread in dollar terms, the commission applied if applicable, the swap applied per trade for the holding period concerned, to produce a net profit result. The only thing that isn't included in this is any slippage assumptions, which we therefore need to factor in as a conservative basis at the end of the exercise in our portfolio assumptions. So this is a very important file that we use in the portfolio compilation process. So that's it for the particular files that are generated by the backtest process within each of these executable algorithms, and that's it for showing you how to undertake a backtest using these ATS programs. We hope you enjoyed this video. We'll have further videos looking at how to deploy these for demo trading accounts and live trading accounts, and also more information relating to the backtest process within our forum. So thanks very much for watching, guys, and have a great day. Bye.